So guys, we're still on Main Street. This is Main Street. We're just leaving the block where the president's residence is located. That's Main Street between New Market Street and Middle Street. People wanted to know about this building. This is a building that has been under renovation for some time, but most recently it has been re-renovated into a Plaza hotel, right? That's the Plaza Hotel. You can see sign that says Plaza Hotel there on Main Street. It's now one of the newest hotels here in the city of Georgetown. It's probably, let's see, it's not actually finished. It's not actually finished because I can see workmen on the ground floor and on the outside still working on the outside of the building. But it says Plaza Hotel Guyana. Plaza Hotel, which is probably one of the newest brand names, newest uh, North American brands to arrive here in Guyana. You can see, again, not lacking in windows. But this building, I think, started out a few years ago as an office tower. Now it seems as if it's going to be a boutique hotel. Right, the Plaza Hotel Guyana, a boutique hotel in the heart of downtown Georgetown here on Main Street. You can see there's still some renovation works going on. But the last time I was here, probably a month or so ago, some renovation work still going on. They still hadn't put up the name on the building. So this is quite a surprise for me to find that it was a hotel and is a hotel. That's probably going to become one of the popular hotels with diplomatic staff, because a lot of these buildings here on Main Street in the vicinity are embassy buildings, right? The British Embassy located next door. I think some other embassies, as I recall. The Prime Minister's residence here behind this fence with all the greenery. That's the official residence of the Prime Minister. And in the next block, the President, the official residence of the President. And a lot of the embassies are located here in this district, this area, this neck of the woods. So that Plaza Hotel is going to be very popular with the diplomats, visiting contingents, and so on. So waiting to see what happens when that opens. We're going to take a look on the inside. Straight ahead, that's a new World Trade Center. It's now officially open and fully operational. I did visit. One of the useful things that World Trade Center can provide, I hope, eventually, is a virtual address for businesses in Guyana that want to do international trade, right? In addition to providing assistance with international markets. I'll talk a little bit more about that in a sec. This is Lamaha Street looking east, right? We're at Lamaha and Main Street. And that's looking back on Main Street. On the 15th day of November, that's looking south on Main Street to the end of this section, which is of Main Street, which is the end of Main Street at Church Street. But from this point on, Main Street becomes High Street again. So Main Street becomes High Street from Lamaha Street all the way to Kingston, the seawall, and turns into Republic Avenue between Church Street and, I believe, Hatfield or Brickdam. Then it becomes High Street again. Yes, guys, this is what is happening here. Now, the World Trade Center building is now officially open. This is Kawan Street. Oh, we just passed. I think I pointed this out. This is supposed to be a park. Now, this used to be the old train station, right? This used to be end of the line for the East Coast train line, right? That's the old train station building here at Lamaha Street. It has been turned into a park. It's actually not open right now, but there are some, I think, sculptures of horses there in the park. And further down the end of this uh, reserve is where they repair trains. And I showed in the previous video the trains, the remnants of trains that were operating on the East Coast back in the 1950s, 1940s and 1950s until I think 1970s when they were disbanded. Train service was disbanded. Here is the World Trade Center. Now, I explained that World Trade Center is now open, and one of the things they do is they provide assistance for local businesses that are seeking international markets to export local produce, things that we've traditionally exported, rice and sugar, but now, of course, there is agricultural products that are being developed, like the new plant and chip factory and the stores and the private producers of dried fruits and so on. So they're going to find assistance in exporting their products from the World Trade Center. As I was saying, I'm also hoping that World Trade Center can also provide virtual addresses for businesses for international purposes, and I'm going to talk with them about that in the future. CNOOC, this is the China Offshore Oil Company. They're located here on High Street, and this is the Guyana Aviation Authority, Guyana Civil Aviation Authority, GCAA. Inter-American Development Bank is also located here. That's the IDB building here on High Street. All right, this is the Civil Aviation Authority building. And we're back in Kingston. This is Barrack Street. Barrack Street, the next street, I think, next corner east of where we are is Duke Street, where the American Embassy is located. And down the west end of Barrack Street, you're going to find the Power Authority, the generating plants for Georgetown, right along the riverbank. This is the Anglican body's headquarters. And I think this is a Nazarene church, I believe. I can't remember exactly, but I think. Or it might be Anglican, I don't remember. But here is Red House. Like I said, there are a few of these colonial architecture buildings remaining. This one and the one next to it, which is called the Red House, are only a few of them, an example of a few of the colonial architecture that remain. This one says Premier Insurance, but this is Red House, now a sort of museum for Dr. Chetty Jagan. So it's the Chetty Jagan Research Center. Colloquially known as Red House. And on the other side, these are some of the, I guess, local embassies. And this one is Digicel, the headquarters of the phone company. The next building, I think, is the P.F. Chang's restaurant. This one is a Nasi building. And the auditor's office. That's P.F. Chang's, the new franchise here in Guyana. This is the GAU building, Guyana Agricultural Workers Union, and the High Court, or the Appeals Court, Court of Appeal next door. Right, that's the Court of Appeal. And right at the end of the block is the Pegasus Suites and Corporate Center. Like we said in the previous video, at this point, they are looking to construct another tower. So they're going to build twin towers, 12-story buildings next to each other. We're looking forward to the second of the twins, which is under construction. You can see the cranes there. Yes, this is the Pegasus Suites and Corporate Center. And of course, along Battery Road in Kingston, further west, you can see the Marriott Hotel, one of the first international brands in Guyana. Of course, in the foreground here is the Turtle Shell Beach monument, and this is Umaniyana. Yes, guys, this is what is happening in this neck of the woods. I just wanted to give you a feel for what is happening in Georgetown on the 15th day of November, the start of the 2025 Christmas season. And we're gonna stop here at Kingston, right? The Kingston Esplanade here on Saturday afternoon. That's the Pegasus Suites and Corporate Center. That's the GBTI headquarters. And straight ahead is the Esplanade, which runs behind these buildings. All right, this is the Pegasus Suites and Corporate Center. And behind it is the Esplanade. the Esplanade building. So that's what's happening here, guys. If you want to see more content like this, click like and subscribe on a quiet Saturday afternoon in Georgetown. Quiet because, of course, it is the quiet before the storm of Christmas shopping that is about to descend on Georgetown. Thought I'd give you a look at the city before the shopping chaos starts so that you'd have something to compare it to once it begins. Here in Georgetown, Guyana. Tell me what you think, guys. Tell me what you think about the city as it prepares for Christmas 2025, about the atmosphere, the ambience. On the one hand, people are looking forward to the bounty of a very productive year. That is, Guyana's GDP has continued to grow during this year. I think it's been 7.5% growth in the first half of the year. I think it's probably more like 50% growth. However, because of the falling price of oil, I think the revenue from oil may not have grown as quickly during this year as it did in previous years. So you might end up with maybe 20 or 30% growth overall for the year. But people are, on the other hand, apprehensive about the terrorism situation, the security situation. There was a terrorist attack in the city, killing one person, but optimistic that the politicians will fulfill their promise of delivering cash for Christmas. It's November 15th, so that has to happen very quickly if it is to materialize, if it is to be delivered before Christmas. But of course, with Christmas shopping and money comes inflation. So there's also reason to be apprehensive about inflation that's going to accompany any kind of influx of capital. There's apprehension about the stability and the value of the Guyana dollar, the availability of currency, foreign exchange, US dollars, and the fact that there's not enough regulation of companies that are extracting foreign exchange, extracting US dollars for the little bit that they've invested in Guyana. So a lot to think about, but tell me what you think as we come to the end of this section of our walk here at Kingston Esplanade. This is the bandstand, the seawall bandstand, and here is the concession area here at Kingston. Tell me what you think, guys. Share this video with friends and family around the world. Let people know what's happening in the fastest growing economy in the world, Guyana. Well, that's the children's playground. And over here, can't end before I show you the Atlantic Ocean. This is the Atlantic Ocean. Right, that's the Esplanade looking west towards the hotels. Right, Pegasus Suites and Corporate Center and Marriott. And this is looking east. East along the coast. And here we are at the beach. Right, Georgetown is a beach town. And this is what the beach looks like on a Saturday afternoon in November. Way in the distance, that is that building you can see peeking out behind the trees. That's the Pasha Global 5-star Hotel and Resort. There's another building you can see. That's a small and tall building going up there in, I think that's Kitty. I'm going to show it to you at some point. This is the coast here at Kitty and in Georgetown. And that's the beach looking west. That's the guy. Share this video with friends and family around the world. Let people know what's happening in the fastest growing economy in the world, Guyana. Later.